This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement.
Okay, what's going on, Blueprint Nation? How are you doing today, man? Listen, welcome to another dope episode of Respect My Blueprint podcast. Of course, this is the platform where we give you the blueprint on how to do shit around here, okay? And man, today we are going to talk about how to be able to maintain home health and habits. Okay, this is a Good Friday right now, and we are going to go ahead and set the stage for a weekend for you guys to be able to uplift yourself, empower yourself with, a certified personal trainer, life coach, as well. He's the host of his own podcast. Today's guest, man, he is a super, super dope individual. I'm super excited about this podcast, as all my guests that comes on the show, right? And like me, he didn't just break the chains, all right, of our old life, but he's also shattering the entire system that's holding him back and helping others to do so as well, too. So, from a prison cell to now building a life of purpose, peace, and power. My guest today, he has flipped the script. He's creating a blueprint for not just getting rich quick, but helping others to be able to keep it real with themselves. And he is the host of a platform and a podcast called Creating Greatness. And also he's a living example of inner evolution. So, we're not going to talk about it today. We're going to be about it with today's episode. So I'm happy to go ahead and welcome my guest today, Robert Prasch. How you doing today, Rob?
Hey, man, I am absolutely fantastic. I'm extremely blessed. I'm super grateful to be here. Thank you for all the kind words. I'm excited to get into it, man.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. Glad to have you here as well, too. As podcaster to podcaster, this is what we do, right? All right. Well, listen, Rob, I've went ahead and introduced you as best as I can, but I didn't feel like, it would be injustice and I would be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity to share with the audience a little bit about yourself as your background as well, too, so they can understand more of the man behind the Creating Greatness podcast.
Hey, man, well, I certainly appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do so. I find more and more as I get into the creative content world that it is nice to have a story and a background to stand on, but it really is not about us. It's not about me. The more that I am able to glorify God and amplify the message, the more success that I've seen. But it does help to know that there is a person behind it. And although I talk about creating greatness, I talk about my Lord and Savior Jesus. I'm not perfect. I'm not where I want to be yet. I still have a long way to go. I grew up in South New Jersey, a lot closer to Philadelphia than New York. So those were my stomping grounds, Philadelphia and Atlantic City. Got in a lot of trouble as a youth and have a lot of help on how to find my way out, or even figure anything out. I was just kind of flying with what I saw, and what I saw were drug dealers on the corner with big rims and big gold chains and all the women. And my eyes just lit up as a youngster, and it just led me down a very deep, dark road very fast. God puts you in them situations, them eye openers. We're going to talk about it. And
Absolutely.
it led me to be doing what I'm doing and a personal evolution, like you say. And it's a step-by-step process, but I'm loving it. I'm living it. I'm free. I'm sober. I'm happy. And that's a big change from where I was 15 years ago.
Man, we've talked about it before that even myself, I had a checkered past. I almost end up, I did almost a decade in prison and got out in 2019 and been able to go ahead and transform my life after the pandemic to be able to be the person that I am today, build the platform that I have and build the companies that I have and try to empower and uplift others. So with you, if you've also had a similar situation, right, where you had a checkered past and everything like that. So how has the journey been since you have gotten out of your imprisonment up until this point?
Well, I mean, it's a difficult road. And I think, something that we were going to talk about as well is what is a misconception that people have about changing your life was discipline or self-mastery. And I think that the misconception is that it's going to be easy. My life's going to get so much better.
Oh, man. Yeah. If it was that simple, right?
Yeah, it's more like the opposite, man. Especially
Right.
when you're dealing with that checkered past, you already have a stigma. And while I'm not going to sit here and complain or cry about it, you determine your future, you set your own realities. Although there are obstacles that are valid you have to, figure out a way to maneuver around it. So just starting from scratch, being humble, dropping my level of humility to be able to, like when I first came home, work a minimum wage job, and not only work it, but work it to the best of my ability. And doing that and changing that mentality of, I'm going to do everything to the best of my ability. I'm sweeping this floor to the best of my ability. That's what I had to do. That's what the world's offering me now. Getting promotions, getting raises. Within 3 years, I got promoted 5 times and got 5 or 6 different raises, to where the point where I invested some money. I got in early on crypto, started my own company, and now I work from home every day. That happened in 3 to 5 years after my release. And it all happened with that simple trick of, I'm not going to work to the level of what I'm compensated for. I'm going to work to the level of my standards. I'm going to work to the level of what my work ethic is, and it's the best that I could possibly perform. And when you do that in every small thing, in fact, I have a series called Everyday Excellence Series on creating greatness, and it's basically breaking down how to be excellent in everything you do. And what I mean by that is the very minute details of your day, how you wake
Right.
up, how you go to the bathroom, what is the first thing you do, how you maintain your body, your health, your home. And moving on from there, then it's a lot easier to be great in big things. And that's really was the big flip. And that's how I flipped the script on life. I pay very close attention to everything. I'm very observative. I pay attention to every single detail. And I try to perform every detail of my life in absolute excellence. And I fail, I fall short all
We
the
all
time. I'm not
we
saying,
all do, of
but
course.
because I have that standard, I'm able to perform pretty well every time. And even if I fall short every time, I can still say, well, I performed pretty well because I shot so high. If I was shooting where I thought I could hit, then I might have done worse than that. So it's that kind of mentality that has helped me exceed expectations and break all the boundaries that you're talking about.
Awesome, man. That's super uplifting in the aspect of how you've been able to transform your life and change everything, right? And for me, I want to, say that how prison actually helped transform my life because number one, it lets you know that how much you don't want to go back, but also it prepares you for the outside world of sort of, physically, mentally, emotionally, and say, okay, these are things I want to accomplish. These are things that I want to be able to do once I get out. Was during your time of incarceration, did you also prepare yourself for when you come to the outside world?
Well, I think that was a problem that I faced. I was it's part of why I'm successful now, to be honest. I'm very
Okay.
stubborn. I'm very determined. I'm very hard headed. I can't have someone tell me. Now I'm a little bit more open to education. I'm a little bit more open to learning from others. But early on in my life as a young man, I knew it all. I was stubborn. I was hard headed, and I just wanted it my way, and that was the only way. And that's why I went to prison 4 times, man. I went to prison 4 times. And it wasn't until the fourth time where I was facing an extended sentence because of the repetitive nature of I was a career criminal, how they call it in New Jersey.
Right.
I guess that was enough to finally scare me straight. But you know what? It wasn't really the time. It wasn't the number. It was the pain and the misery that I felt even before going back and becoming incarcerated, almost as if becoming incarcerated was relief from my life because it was so bad. I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what really helped me the most, and I extend this advice to families that are dealing with a human being like me, is the tough love is what did it for me. The people just going, enough is enough. I don't want nothing to do with you. Family members, even moms. There's no
Ah,
bailouts. There's no money on your books. There's no visits. There's no letters. And a lot of people could think, well, that's sad. That's so depressing. And it was in a way, but for me, it was actually the exact opposite. Because at that moment in that cell, I realized no one's going to come save you. No one's going to do this thing for you, man. No one's going to make your life better but you. And then so looking and reflecting back on my life, which is a very high importance, I talk about a lot, reflecting and analyzation of your past without getting sucked and drowned into it. I
right.
go, this is all your fault. You did this. It's all your fault. You're not the victim. It's you. No, it's no one else's fault. And with that realization, you're alone. No one's going to save you. And hey, this is your fault. This degradation that you found yourself in. It was a recognition as well of the power that I had. Like, wow, like you must have some power within you to be able to do all this negative things in life, this death, this destruction, this pain, this anguish, this anger. So why don't we try to flip the script? But the problem was I never had a teacher. I never knew a way. No one ever taught me anything really about anything. I learned from the guys in the street. So I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to change. So for a little while, I just did the direct opposite of my instinct. I go, well, everything you've done up until this point has been wrong. Can we agree with ourselves that that's the truth? And once I came to that matter, but not knowing where to go, not knowing where to turn to make it better, I go, well, just do the opposite. Just do the opposite of your instinct. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you, it sounds crazy, but it helped me until I learned a better way.
Man. And so you really, in a sense, you had to get out of your own way, right?
Absolutely.
You had to get out of your own way, and it's when you, and this is just in general for the audience's period. Once you make that realization, that's when you realize greatness is right around the corner for you, right? And a lot of us, and something else that you mentioned is taking accountability for your own actions, right? Which that is so easy to point fingers and put blame on another person, place, or thing, but once you take the accountability for your own actions, that's also is another aspect that allows you to get to the next level, right? And now you, of course, created a blueprint of success for yourself, right? Because with everything you've shared up until this point, and you've built a platform in doing so. So what are some of the core pillars you you teach or you embody in order to be able to go ahead and create your personal blueprint?
Well, I think that the best things in life are created off experience.
Experience.
We can learn a lot through literature, through others, through studying and research and all these different things. And those things are good. They're available to us now, in the world with the internet and everything and YouTube. You can learn anything. You could go anywhere, visually right there on the screen, and you can learn a lot. But for me, I think most people learn by doing, by physically, getting their hands in it. And I just paid attention. Like I said, I studied these things. I practiced these things. I paid attention to what worked, what didn't work, how it worked, when it worked, tweaked different things that I learned, whether it was cold water exposure or meditation or yoga. Like, you get all these different classes and teachings online, but sometimes you could be turned off by it, but don't let that dismay you. Tweak it, make it your own.
Right.
Listen to your body. Get in tune with you, because while there are a lot of generalizations that could be made, ultimately the blueprint is going to be unique to you, man. And that's part of the journey. It's part of the discovery of finding out who you really are. But to get down to some good generalizations, I think that we talked about before the literature that I read about karma and yoga and meditation. And these things, the literature was from a former inmate. So it let me know I wasn't alone in the ways that I was living and the way that I wanted to go. That other people followed this road and they found peace, they found happiness. And that made me feel not alone, and that I could also do it. A guy in my circumstances made it out. So there I go. Okay, boom. If he could do it, I could do it. He talked about karma. Once again, back to the accountability, understanding that it was all my fault, and that if I do bad, I get bad, and if I do good, I get good. It was simple as that. So these basic truths of life are the things that helped start me spin out. I started doing yoga. It gave me a connection to the body and gave me a realization that there's something bigger than me on this world. And what it also did was get me out of my head, get me out of my thoughts, because that was the problem. A lot of the problems in the street with the drugs and the crime was because I had a nonstop, crazy, overanalytical brain that never shut up. I couldn't sleep and all these different things. And the yoga helped me get into the body. And then we move into the meditation that got me into the spirit. And beyond that, it helped me fight my demons, everything I was facing, lust, addiction, criminal thinking. I went to war with those demons during meditation, and I won. And now I have peace. My demons are in the background doing push-ups, waiting for me to slip, but they're not here in my present thoughts. I won the battle. We're still fighting the war through meditation. But what meditation also did was bring me a clarity of life, who I am, who I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing, what the world is like, and where do I fit in it. It brought me a clarity beyond anything I've ever experienced. And if you receive clarity on your life and the world and situations that you're in, you're halfway there, man. Most people are confused, they're distracted, and that's where the meditation really comes in. I'm
Now,
thankful. No, go.
no, which as you're working with individuals, right? Because what are some of the biggest problems you see people face nowadays that's holding them back? Because you've talked about having clarity and accountability, and of course, you're referring to yourself and everything like that. But when you're working with a client or a viewer or anybody in your community, what do you see some of the biggest obstacle that stops somebody from getting to their inner purpose and the next level?
Number one thing, distraction.
Distraction. Right.
Distraction from not
And
like,
it's so easy to be distracted nowadays in this society, right? We both know that.
because it's built that way. It's designed that way. It's on purpose. Everything is to keep
Exactly.
us distracted
Exactly.
from the truth. Everything that's designed and engineered in this world, whether it's TV, radio, commercials, the internet, the pushing of lustful things or food and technology and all these different things. People could be addicted and ruining their whole lives and not even know it. Maybe they're not doing drugs. Maybe they're not an alcoholic. Maybe they're not going to jail like I was every couple of months. But there's so many other things that are so degrading to your life. Whether you overshop, you overspend, you're constantly in debt, you smoke, you eat, you overeat. That's affecting your body so much. You're stuck on TV and Netflix. You're playing games all day. You're on the internet. You're on your phone. You're scrolling. All these things are the distractions that I'm talking about. And what it does is it keeps you distracted with all the nonsense, the drama, and the worldly things, and keeps you distracted from here. Because whether you believe in my God or whatever, I think that it's very beneficial for all of us to come to some conclusion that there is a power greater than us. There is a universal creative energy that flows through all things, and it flows through us. It lives inside of us. So the biggest thing that I see people face that they're unwilling to get out of is distraction. And not only the distraction from the things that I just mentioned, but the distraction from other people. What do they think? What do they think about me? How do they feel about me? How am I perceived in society? Man, let all that stuff go. Focus on making yourself happy in the form of valuable to society, smiled on by God, smiled on by your family. And when you focus on those things and your character and who you are inside, none of that stuff matters. And you could dip into the world of distractions. I play video games. I'm on the internet. I do things like that, but in a limited way, in a controlled way, where you know what's truly important and you prioritize in that way. And when you do that, you're able to succeed in anything you do. So that is the number one thing. People are not only distracted by things and material things, but by people's view of them. It holds so many people back from exploring outside the box ideas and talking to someone like me that's a little bit weird because they're stuck in that perception of what people think and how they're perceived. And I think that holds a lot of people back, man.
Oh, of course. I mean, like, especially we're in the day and age of social media where, everything is on Front Street and people just want to have that keep up with the Joneses perception and effect, right? So it's easy to fall in victim to, like you just mentioned, where, you want to be able to go ahead and live a life of facade and everything, but most people are afraid to be their authentic selves, I believe. Right. And being your authentic self, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But okay, now this has, your mission and your journey has also, sparked you starting your podcast as well too, which your podcast, it's also based upon creating greatness and living life on purpose and everything like that. How has your podcast journey has been in helping others to do so?
And it's the podcast. It's great. It's a struggle. It's work.
It's work, right?
It is, man. I mean, it's everything that people want to get in the podcast game and they want to get monetized, and that's great. You should aim for that. But I think somewhere along the line, even me, I lost track of like, what is this really for? Because what it really was for me was like when I came home from prison and I was making $11 an hour in that warehouse, and I was like happy and smiling and excited to be sweeping floors, and I seen everybody else wasn't so happy. And they were kind of sad and miserable, and you would overhear the conversations about drama at home, and I would go, don't they know? Don't they know about this limitless energy that's inside us that we could tap into? And I was so excited. And I say it on my channel. I go, well, but who am I to lecture them? And maybe they didn't want to hear it. So I started thinking, and some of the people there that did want to hear it go, you should start a podcast, man. And, so that's the mission is to, I always pray before I do any show. This show included is like, dear Lord, just give me the words that I need to convey the message of love and peace and energy. And then, help me. Bring me to the ears that need to hear it. I would love to be heard by a million people or millions of people. But if I just could reach one person and change their day, uplift them, make them shift their perspective on something that could really change their life, then I did my job for that day, man. And it's something that I really have to remember. But we've done good, It's just truthfully, I have two channels. One's totally self-improvement related. It's called Creating Greatness. And then I have the Bible study channel, which is called You, Me, and Jesus. And at this point in time, I'm doing a lot better numbers-wise on the religious Bible study channel. But it doesn't mean that I won't continue to do Creating Greatness, because when I needed a change in my life, you couldn't have come at me with religion. I was not ready to hear it. I would have shut you out as soon as you said the word anything dealing with it. So I believe that there is a fundamental level of instruction that some people need to have to just gain the clarity, getting your sleep right, getting your diet right, getting certain dramatic and traumatic things dealt with before you can receive the clarity to come to God on your own. Because I also believe that, I went through meditation and Buddhism and Jainism and Hinduism and all these different things, studying them before I ended up where I'm at. And it's true to me even more so because I explored and I came to it on my own. I wasn't pushed into it or indoctrinated. So I do Creating Greatness for that. But, the other channel, You, Me, and Jesus, doing great. And, we're just excited to be doing it, man. And like I said, if I could reach one person and change the way they're thinking that day, make them smile, and I've done my job. I got to remember that because it's hard sometimes.
Awesome, awesome. Which, let me ask you a question. Let me be, let's keep it real here,
Yeah,
because
let's do it.
when it comes to, life coaches and success coaches and motivational coaches and everything, there's a bad stigma that surrounds that particular field and industry. They say, usually it's only temporary and it's just a bunch of rah, rah, rah cheerleading and everything like that. And what are your thoughts on people who has that type of mindset when it comes to personal life coaches and everything like that?
Well, I got to be honest as well. You want honesty, and I have to be honest as well. I agree with a lot of it. I do agree with it. Here I am speaking from that point of view. Yeah, if you want me to be honest, if you want me to give a no, I think it's unnecessary. I think that you're going to find all you need inside. But here goes the thing why some people need, even me, having a coach or a mentor or a team. There's nothing like human connection. I talked about it in some of the other things we were going to talk about is emotional intelligence and emotional happiness, emotional stability. And you build those things, which are absolutely necessary within your life. There's four tenets of well, there's a lot, and we get to intensity, vision, and strength. But there's four tenets is be strong mentally, be strong physically, be sound spiritually, and be emotionally stable and be emotionally well. So building connections, having conversations. This is I was talking to my wife this morning. It's like we work out harder when we're in the gym. Why? Why? I don't know any of those people in the gym, but just that little bit of peer pressure makes me go harder. So imagine if you have someone who's been through the downtimes, been through the death, been through the destruction, been through any worst things you could possibly imagine. Someone who clawed their way out by their own two hands, by their own strength, figured it all out. Not only did they figure it out, they wrote it all down and recorded it. And now they have it for you. And if I can ease your suffering in some small way by a lesson that I learned through pain and suffering and misery, I'll gladly do it, brother. I'll gladly do it. So if you could get that level of motivation just by being around strangers, imagine someone who cares about you, someone who loves you, someone who their heart is at your best well-being. They want to see you shine with no competition. And in fact, if you shine brighter than they ever could, they would be cheering you on like that. And that's how I am. And that's who I am, brother. So if somebody wants that kind of help, just hit me up. Creating Greatness Podcast at Gmail, all lowercase.
Love it, man. So I love that you shared that, because again, you kept it real. All right. It's not like, hey, you're not shying away from the criticism that comes along your way and everything like that. But you also highlighted what's different. Now, tell me how some of the people that you've helped, if you could give an example of someone that you've helped and you've been able to transform their lives and give them a little bit of inspiration. Is there anybody that sticks out to mind?
Yeah, he's actually a good friend of mine now. We started out just working together, and he does my podcast with me. He's on my religious channel, You, Me, and
Oh,
Jesus. And
okay.
he was a guy who was picked on a lot and bullied as a youth, severely, to where he developed a lot of confidence issues. Just he wasn't a happy guy, and he dealt with
Right.
a lot of mental problems to the point where he developed certain tics and agitations, and it was severe. And I've been working with him for like a year, and now he's on my channel. He talks confidently, he speaks articulately, he's not afraid to speak in front of crowds and speak on the podcast. He does great. Some of his videos have went absolutely bananas, and he's more confident, he's more healthy, and that has been one of the biggest joys of my life, and then actually developing a friendship with the guy where, now we're no longer working together in that capacity, but just keeping me up on how things are going and how he's continually elevating and holding this theory that I hold of a continuous improvement. Okay, so you've gotten better, but where can you go from now? Each achievement is not the end of the road. It's the stepping stone to the next achievement or the next breakthrough or the next big thing in your life. And that's what he's doing, man. And I'm proud of him. And we're just going to continue to keep trying to find people like that. They're down in the dumps that are just in a rut and it's stuck and need some help out. And we're not going to price gouge or try to take advantage of them. And I'm not going to try to sustain the business relationship forever. I think the best teachers are those that teach you to be independent. of them. And it's not a money thing for me. It never will be.
Awesome, man. I love it. Now we've talked about the three H's that have grounded you and set the foundation, set your blueprint, which is home, health, and habits. How has home, your family and everything like that has been able to go ahead and build your blueprint?
Well, you know what? Family is like a crazy thing, man, because you just don't see it. I think a lot of men and women, we get involved and maybe we're a little bit immature, or maybe we're not really ready, or maybe we don't really understand that all of it entails. And I was definitely on a learning curve. Now I have three boys, 8, 6, and 4. They're all healthy and strong. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world, man. I mean,
Beautiful.
nowadays you get a lot of men that glorify being a player, or women that glorify being independent career women, and that's all well and good. Well, I don't know about the player thing, but
Yeah.
however you want to live your life, you're welcome to do that. But don't be so dismissive of the joy and the purpose that family brings. I mean,
Yes.
just for a man, the level of maturity that you're able to find through sacrifice. You're really honestly I was a boy. I was a little boy with a big beard and a grown up body. I'm short, so not totally grown up, but as
Right.
grown up as I was gonna get. I didn't know how to sacrifice. I didn't know how to put people in front of me. I didn't know how to be the spiritual leader of my household, how to guide and shape and manage, because management is a big part of it. It's like now I run my household like I run my business. I manage my household like I manage a business. I'm totally efficient in every aspect, whether it's managing the trash, managing the dishes, managing the products that come into my home, making sure everything's where it needs to be so that there's very little waste. I try to eliminate waste from my life in every capacity. I'm only here so long. I wasted a lot of it being incarcerated. I don't want to waste another second. So I'm very effective and efficient the way that I manage my home in every way like that to maintain the harmony of it. I'm very uber aware of the relationships and the dynamics within my home, whether it's my son's relationships with each other, my relationship with each of them individually, and exactly for my wife, individually having a relationship with each child, as well as those having interconnected relationships, and keeping everyone in a space of harmony where we all feel loved, we all feel respected, where my children are disciplined and their life is structured in a way that's conducive to their best well-being, whether it's emotional wellness, physical fitness, mental strength, because we do all these different things. I homeschool my kids. We do all the class. I'm the art teacher. I'm the English teacher. I'm the physical education coach.
Look
And
at
then,
that.
something else that
Okay.
you mentioned is spirituality and energy and all those things. It's like my son, who's 8 years old, one of my proudest moments was we went to a place called Isha Institute of Inner Sciences. And it's a guru named Sadhguru, and they do a lot of yoga and meditation teaching there. We were in Tennessee. My son, at 6 years old at the time, sat and meditated with a group of meditators for over 10 minutes and sat totally perfectly still. And people were like,
Wow.
whoa, like, how's he doing that? I go, because first of all, I do two things with being a parent. Number one, I be the guy I wish I had. That's number one. That's all I have to
Okay.
do. Be the guy I wish I had. And number two, teach them early what I learned late. So they know about
Teach
meditation. They
them
know
early
about
what
God.
you
They
learned.
know about physical fitness. My 8-year-old, he trains with me outside. I don't have him lifting weights or do anything that's going to stunt his growth, but like jumping jacks, push ups, he's on it, man. I want them to know the importance of these things because I didn't. And it led me astray and it caused me a lot of pain and heartache. And I don't want to see them go through.
Facts, man. And of course, ultimately the other H's with the health, like you've gotten into yoga and obviously with the fitness and that you just mentioned, incorporated your kids and family, and which ultimately, it's like 1 + 1 = 2, right? So the home and health has equaled out to the habits that you've built for yourself, which now this is manifested into the man that you are right now. Now, before we wrap up today's show, because you've given the audience a great level of inspiration as well as empowerment. Now, for somebody that's out there listening to this podcast right now, then maybe they're not in the best mental space or best place in life right now, and they want to be able to break through some of the obstacles that's holding them back. They want to get to the next level. What is that one piece of advice you would share for them to be able to go ahead and do so, as well as for them to go ahead and create their personal blueprint?
Well, thank you so much for asking this question. You said you were going to be organic. We flowed, and I loved it. But this is one that I made some notes on because it's really important.
I
It
love it.
really is.
Okay.
When you're down and you're out and you feel like no one cares and you feel like nothing's going to help, you just don't know where to turn. You don't know where to go. Number one, man, understand you ain't alone, sister. You ain't alone. There's so many people that have been there. It might have been a different event that caused them to feel that way. It might have been a different life trajectory that brought them there. but there's people that have been there. And in fact, I take a step further and say there's probably a whole lot of people that have been through something very, very similar. So you're not alone. Understand that, number one. I got 4 steps. If you
Okay.
want to take it literally, you want a blueprint, detach. Number one, detach. Detach from everything, even if it's for a little bit. Now, I was blessed, and I say blessed, and I mean this, with the opportunity to go to prison. And what prison presented me with an opportunity to detach from everything. I got fed, I had a bed, I didn't need nothing else. I didn't have to worry about a phone call. I didn't have to worry about a letter. I didn't have to worry about making any money. I didn't have to worry about going out in the world and being somebody, because none of that existed for me. So I was able to detach from everything. Nothing mattered. And when you're able to do that for just a few moments a day, best in the first thing in the morning. If you could do it outside, that's a bonus. That's the extra credit. In nature, fresh
Right.
air and the breeze blowing, you hear the birds singing. These are things that are going to trigger your brain for peace and happiness and unity with the soul and the spirit. You're going to start to find out things, man. You're going to start to figure out things, because now you're not paying attention to what people are talking about, what people are saying, or what's going on in the news, or who's beefing with who online. Like, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
really
exactly.
doesn't matter. Even to an extent, from your family and your friends, because they have expectations for you too. They have influences on you too. They put pressure on you too. So it's very important to take a moment, 30 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever you could spare in the morning, especially outside bonus credit, to detach and be silent and get away from the phone. Put the phone down, put the TV off, everything. That detachment, that separation, that alone time, even if it's uncomfortable. A lot of people aren't alone because they're uncomfortable with their thoughts. They're uncomfortable with themselves. That's the war, man. That's the battle in the demons. That's the things we need to go through to end up where we need to be. So
Right.
don't dismiss that stuff, man. Don't totally distract yourself with games and drinks and drugs and food and relationships and people and all the stuff that's going on. Detach. Bring it back to self. Bring it back to nature, and you're going to find out a lot of things. Number 2 is accept. Accept everything that is within your life circumstance right now. Accept it, that it's your fault. Even if other people played a part in it, it doesn't matter. It is what it is now, and you have to accept that. Once you accept that, you stop playing the victim, you stop playing the blame game, you take accountability for yourself, you take your power back. You
Yeah.
stop giving your power away to people, places, and things. Oh, my life's like this because of this. My life's like this because of those people. You're effectively giving your power to them. You're giving your power away to them and letting them influence and determine your life. Is that something that you want to be doing? I don't think
Absolutely
so. So
not.
take the hard step, the hurtful step. It's going to hurt you, and accept everything that's in your life is your fault, and accept the responsibility to take action for it.
Exactly.
Number 3, recognize the power of you. You detached, you got alone, you battled some demons. You accepted that, okay, this is where I'm at right now. It's my fault. It's up to me to figure out how to get out of it.
Right.
Recognize you have the power to do so, man. If you had the power to put yourself in any circumstance that you're in now, if it's bad, if it's even worse, that's pretty powerful. Turn that power towards good. Start changing your thoughts. Start changing your actions. It starts slowly, even if you have to do it against what your mind's telling you. When you start these small steps of positive actions, love, kindness, generosity, positivity, and when you start making these steps, your life will change. And then, even if you're faking it, when I first started being a nice guy, I was totally faking it. I hated you. I hated everybody. I was just angry. I just, hey, how you doing? I'm thinking in my mind, man. But it didn't matter, because here's what happened. I started practicing kindness. People started being kind to me. They didn't matter about the big beard, the tattoos, and everything. They saw past that. They saw a kind human being. And when that happened, doors started opening for me that weren't open before, because of my face, because of my demeanor, because of my speech. But when I changed all those things, now I got new opportunities. Now my life is effectively getting better. So do it, even if you got to fake it till you make it. I totally believe in it. When people start being kind to you and doors start opening, you're going to loosen up. You're going to lighten up, and you're going to be kind and loving and generous naturally. It's going to come naturally. And the last thing is take action. We got to be men of action, a woman of action. We have to be people of action. Now that we've taken these steps, we have to make action with purpose, move with purpose towards the ends that we want, the goals and the ambitions and the lifestyle that we thought about when we detached and we were alone and we were by ourselves. Now that we went through those other steps, now it's time to take action. We have
Time
to
to
take
take
action. You
action. Yeah,
can't just read
you
and
got to
listen
take
to
action.
videos.
Listen.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can learn all you need, all you want, but you have to move in the physical world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, man, you and I love how you emphasize the last part of taking action, right? Because a lot of people just get fire hosed with a lot of information and they overthink, and to me, that is the biggest one. And it doesn't matter where you are, right? Perfection is not have to be the case. You don't have to be perfect in what you're doing. But the thing is, just wanting to do better and taking action behind it. Because ultimately, and if you could agree with me or not, that is going to be the habit. You do it one day, then you do it 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and then next thing you know, the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth day, you've built that habit to be able to go ahead and exercise greatness. So, the biggest takeaway, which again, I'm not taking away from the other initial 3 points, but the last one, you really hit the nail on the coffin by saying taking action, as that is the one component that I feel like a lot of people that's stopping them from getting to the next level. But, other than that, Robert, man, thank you for joining today's show, man. You have been a great level of inspiration for a lot of the viewers today and myself and the podcast. Thank you for definitely dropping the bombs and dropping these gems today, man. Super, super dope. I want to go ahead and give you the opportunity, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the audience want to be able to go ahead and connect with you, learn more from you. You have 2 channels. You said the self-development and the religious channel. I'm pretty sure you have people that's watching this show that want to be able to connect with you on either or both. Let the audience know right now how they can connect with you so they can be able to go ahead and walk alongside of your journey, brother.
Hey, man, I welcome y'all to it, man. I'd be blessed to have any of you. I thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and talk about these things. I do a lot of podcasts, but I was very excited when I started reading the subject matter of what you had in store. And I think it was a great episode, and I'm just blessed to be a part of it, man. So if you guys want to get down with me, be part of the show, have me on part of your show, Creating Greatness Podcast at Gmail, all lowercase. If you're interested in strictly self-development, how to really get back from rock bottom. The show starts at rock bottom and it goes to where I'm at now through the years, and that's called Creating Greatness. We're on Spotify and YouTube. And if you want to dive into the Bible a little bit, then join me, You, Me, and Jesus on YouTube. You'll actually still find it by searching Creating Greatness Podcast. And my main point of that is, even if you're not a religious person, if you read Proverbs, it is called the Book of Wisdom for a reason. And there's a lot of just really simple truths that can help elevate your life, even without being religious. So join us there as well. And we appreciate y'all for listening in. And I appreciate you for having me, brother. I really do. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Robert. Thanks for tapping in. Thanks for tuning in. And, ladies and gentlemen, again, if all of the descriptions to follow Robert as well as his platform and podcast is going to be on the show notes here. And of course, you can check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify. Every Monday and Friday, we're bringing a dope guest to share their blueprints to success so we can help you in your blueprint to success. And listen, thanks for tapping in. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, guys, we are going to catch you on the flip side. Take care. Peace.
Blueprint, yeah. Blueprint. This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep, Wes Paul with Blueprint. This guests are exclusive. Get on and tune in and then learn some new tips about credit, finance, investment. A nice chance to get rich and buy land. Flip it, quick 9 bands. Learn all the skills from Wesley did it. Learn how to build successful business. Run up a mill and get the digits. Run up a mill. Look, safe place where guests are speaking. Based off financial freedom. All facts, no cap, believe it. Podcast, you have to see it.